Do you need a real estate license to flip houses? By the end of this video, you're going to know if you need a real estate license to flip or not, and more importantly, how to avoid the common mistakes that cost new investors a lot of time and money. If you're confused by the rules around licensing, this episode is going to clear it up. And it also shows you how to flip legally and confidently whether you have a license or not. You ready for this? I have flipped over 1,200 houses and I don't have a license. Ironically, my wife does have a license and I'm half owner of the brokerage, but my wife has never actually sold a house. So the short answer is no, you don't need a license. But you do need to have one on your team or someone that has one on your team. But it really depends on your strategy. Are you gonna do flips? Are you gonna do wholesales? Are you gonna do novations? That determines how much involvement a real estate agent is going to need in your business. When we first started, we tried to sell our first house what's called FSBO. That stands for For Sale by Owner. And we quickly learned there's a reason why there's so many realtors. They have access to the MLS and they can sell houses faster and get it out to a much broader market. And as a flipper, you want to make money as fast as humanly possible. So putting that on the open market is why you want to have a licensed realtor on your team. But again, you don't have to be the one to have the license. Most flippers don't get licensed. The bottom line is it is not needed. And it can be a huge distraction. People come in the market and say, I want to become a real estate agent so I can be a better flipper. And the truth is, you're going to waste so much time going to schooling and learning about how to be a real estate agent. And being a real estate agent is completely different from being a real estate investor. Real estate agents make commissions. Real estate investors make a lot more money. So focus on being an investor, not being a realtor, and don't get sidetracked. The real problem with becoming a real estate agent is going to make you feel busy, and busy is the death of being successful. It also gives you the path of least resistance. So imagine you're sitting with a seller, you're trying to negotiate to buy a house for a lot less. But as a real estate agent, you start thinking to yourself, well, these negotiations are getting a little bit tough and uncomfortable for me, so maybe I'll just divert and become a real estate agent and list their property. Well, the truth is, you just gave up a $50,000 profit on a flip to get a $3,000 commission as an agent. Be careful. Be the real estate investor. Don't be a real estate agent. Just use the licensed person on your team to sell the property once you flip it. So here's when it might make sense to become an agent yourself. When you're doing high volume. When Amber and I first started being successful, we probably had over 100 flips under our belt, and we decided that we had to start listing our properties on the MLS with someone besides an outside agent. So we had a really good friend, and we talked to her and said, what if we paid you $500 per listing to be able to put our houses on the MLS? We'll handle all the work, we'll handle all negotiations, you tell us the right paperwork, we'll be compliant under your license, and that way you can make easy money while we flip houses and do what we do best. And that worked out great for a while, until we had more volume than she could even handle, and we decided that we didn't want to pay that $500 fee anymore, and we opened our own brokerage. Now, I mentioned before that Amber is a broker and has never sold a house, and you're probably saying to yourself, how the heck did you do that? And how, Glenn, do you own half a brokerage and you're not an agent? Well, you gotta know how to make all this stuff work. So I can legally be, in the state of New York, an owner, a part owner of a brokerage as long as somebody is a licensed broker. Amber qualified to become a broker because of points that we earned selling houses. So we had to have around 1,000 points qualified, and we had like 30,000 points. So we more than qualified to become a broker in the state of New York. That's when we opened up our own brokerage, and then we started to keep those fees in-house. That's when it really makes sense, and for you as well. First get your business started, then decide if you want to become a broker or an agent down the road. Another reason you might want to become a broker is you might want to have real estate pro status listed on your tax returns. You want to talk to your accountant about that to see if it makes sense for you. But if you are a real estate agent, you can then list off that you are a real estate professional on your tax returns. If you decide you want to be a wholesaler, that's why you sell a contract. Well, you didn't used to have to be an agent for that, but there are some states now that are implementing legislation that says that you have to be a real estate agent to wholesale property. So you might want to be an agent if wholesaling is the main way you want to run your business. You also might want to become an agent if you want that MLS credibility. Look, there's something funny about real estate agents I've dealt with for many, many years. Sometimes when they get that license that costs them $500, they kind of feel like they're, I'm a very proud and you can only talk to me if you're a real estate agent. Why they get so hoity-toity about themselves, I have no idea. Not all of them do that, but some do. And so sometimes you might want to speak to them at their level and they will acknowledge you better if you are a real estate agent. So if you start to find that in your market, it might make sense to become an agent just so they can sit down and have a conversation with you. So if you do decide to get licensed without needing it or anything else I've talked about today, there are some risks I want to share with you. One of them is you're going to have to fill out a lot of extra disclosures, disclosing exactly who you are as the real estate agent. It's not complicated, it's just cumbersome. You're going to have to take time to do all these classes, you're going to have to pay money and fees, and you're going to have continuing education, which costs money and time. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to split your commission with your broker. So what you really need instead of that is just a solid team to work with. Find a few good agents you can work with to list your properties with, and save yourself the time and headache, and go out and become a real estate investor and make the real money, because that's where the real money is in real estate investing. License or not, if you don't know how to evaluate rehab costs and your overall deal to make that initial offer, you're flying blind. Go check out our video, How to Evaluate a Flip Deal Like a Pro, where I break down exactly how to evaluate renovation costs and calculate your profit so you know exactly what you can offer on a property. The link to that video is right here in the description.